Hypothetical for you, Michael. Car breaks down alongside the road in Wisconsin, and Brett Favre is in it. Who gets picked up first? Brett Favre in Wisconsin, car breaks down in Cleveland with LeBron in it, or a car breaks down in Tennessee with Lane Kiffin in it? Who gets picked up first out of those three?
Are any of the cars Dan Gilbert's car?
Yes.
I think that's the key to that. I think maybe Brett Favre gets picked up first, and maybe that's just because we're sort of used to that story. That's kind of an old story now. I think LeBron really damaged his image nationally by the way he did this, and this idea of doing a 60-minute TV special on ESPN, which I'm sure LeBron and his peeps and ESPN conspired on, was an awful idea. It was an awful idea, and if LeBron is worried about being a global icon, as he has often said, this was an incredibly bad move in that respect.
Yeah, the money for that hour-long show went to charity. That's how they tried to spin this now to make it.
That's weak.
Went to Boys and Girls Club, and they did it in Greenwich, Connecticut, which is an affluent area. So
you can give money to Boys and Girls Clubs without, come on.
But here let's break it down here. Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, in a moment of frustration afterwards, first of all, he wasn't even told about where his guy was going, a man he's been with for many years, was going until the press conference started, until the hour-long show started. So that's not really great on his part. So he fires out comments to the newspaper, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, that sort of got people's attention, okay? I think he was speaking the words of the Cleveland fans. I think he's a fan himself. And, okay, in the heat of the moment, maybe he said some things he shouldn't have, but some of it I applauded, too.
Well, I did not applaud. I have to disagree with you a little bit
We'll
about
get to that in a second.
Ahead.
Jesse Jackson, let's get on him for a second. He hears what Dan Gilbert says, and the Reverend Jesse Jackson has to speak up. And quite frankly, I'm tired of Jesse Jackson speaking up all the time with sports. I think he should be going back to converting people to Christianity or saving souls, but staying out of the sports and also staying out of making everything into a racial issue. If LeBron was white, he wouldn't have had a case on this. But some of the comments, go ahead, talk to me about what some of the things Jesse said here.
Well, I think Jesse Jackson, as much as anybody in American public life in my lifetime, loves to hear his own voice, loves to hear himself talk, and he just can't stop saying things in this ridiculously over-the-top way. We're way too loose with calling people Nazis, calling people fascist, calling people racist, and talking about slavery. We're way over the top with that in sort of the public discourse in this country. And if Jesse would have been able to settle down and be a little more nuanced about it, he actually, I think, made a good point. What LeBron did here is nothing more or less than hundreds and hundreds of athletes have done, which is exercise their free agent rights and go to another team. And he didn't even chase the money because the Cleveland could have paid him more than Miami paid him. So I think Dan Gilbert was being a little childish. He was being kind of had a snit, and somebody who's works with Dan Gilbert has got to say, hold on a minute, big guy. Throw themselves in front of the tweet or whatever you do, and try and control that a little bit, because that was really unfortunate, and it is the kind of thing that I can see African American people reacting to. And hey, here's this rich white dude trying to keep me down, trying to push me around, trying to keep me from doing what I have the right to do. I mean, I can understand people being annoyed by that. Jesse Jackson, way over the top. Slavery, come on, Jesse.
See, I never even saw that issue until Jesse said that. I never even saw that being there. I saw an athlete who had the chance to go somewhere else. Now, what I said I applauded Dan was, I think Dan spoke his mind like the fan, and I think LeBron, as an athlete, doesn't matter of his color, quit last year in the playoffs. It sure looked like he quit, and that's what Dan said.
That's kind of a different issue.
But that was part of it, and that's what I'm saying. I applauded. Hey, if you want to make those comments and you're frustrated, good riddance to him, he quit anyhow, it's somebody else's problem, that's up to the owner to say that. He can say what he wants to say. So,
well, I do think that he was. I do think that you're right that he was speaking for the fans, and I think the fans are not capable of being rational about this. That's the problem, and I think with time this will ease a little bit and calm down. But again, You know, it's almost 40 years since Kirk Flood, and we still haven't figured out how to be comfortable with this idea that athletes, when their contracts run out, can go find another employer. That's just the way it is, and at bottom, that's all he did. I have a big problem with the way LeBron did this, again, with his 60-minute special on ESPN. I don't have that big a problem with what he actually did.
He grew up in the ESPN generation. He grew up on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school, so he's accustomed to being put out there in the spotlight. I think maybe he needs that a little bit. Now, let me throw this to you real quick. Is this good for the NBA or not?
I think it is. I think it is mildly good for the NBA in basketball terms. I think the way it played out was bad for the NBA in sort of public relations media terms.
You get this kind of exposure in July, and it must take away from the World Cup at times. The World's event, I think, is a good thing for the exposure the NBA got. Let's see how it plays out as far as on the courts.